Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Saturday, October 17th. Wow, we're moving right through October pretty quickly. So, today, in the spirit of it's almost Halloween, we are going to make some little Halloween treat boxes. And if you saw Alexis's Create at 8 on Wednesday, she did some cute little treat boxes. I'm going to show you some more. That way you've got lots of options and you can just start playing. Gives you a couple weeks to get things ready because I really do suspect, well, I don't even suspect, I think it's a pretty much foregone conclusion that Halloween's going to be a little bit different this year. So the little treat thing that we're making today is basically called a sour cream container. So if you ever wanted to Google ideas for it, just Google sour cream container. I guess there was a time where sour cream came in these cute little pouches. We're going to use them for treats, and I'm going to show you how fast and easy these are to make. And you're going to be addicted, I promise. I already see myself sitting and making a bunch. And if you've got younger crafters in your life that you want to craft with, safely, of course, or via Zoom, this is something I think would be pretty easy for them to maneuver as well. So today I am using a variety of Halloween paper. I've also got some white paper that I might do some random stamping with and do one. I'll probably show you a couple of different options and we'll even decorate them too. If you don't have Halloween paper and you want to use Christmas or you want to use birthday, anything goes. So I am starting with a 6x6 square. As we go through, you'll see that this technique in this format works for a variety of different sizes. It just gives you a different look in the end. This one was actually, I think it was 5.5 by 5.5. It was just a little bit smaller when I was practicing. The key to this particular format is basically where you put the glue. And I do recommend using a really strong double-sided tape, especially if you're using, leftovers of your really good scrapbooking paper, because it is a little bit stiffer. So you want something that's good and strong, that's not going to pull away and open up your container before you want it to be opened. This format is great if you've got remnants of 6x6 pads lying around, or even if you have some thinner paper, it works as well. I would not recommend going much thicker than what a standard scrapbooking paper would be. If you get into really heavy construction paper and Bristol board, you may find you have trouble with that glue really sticking down. So your basic technique, what we're going to do is we are going to take our paper and we are going to create a tube, and then we're going to pinch the ends in two different directions. That's how straightforward this is. If you are someone who worries about patterns lining up, I don't recommend using stripes. If you're someone who's, it's okay, it's willy-nilly, it's all great, you're good, but I'm going to use this random polka dot pattern on the outside. So that means I'm going to flip it over to my back side, and because it's a square, it doesn't really matter, but we want to put tape on 3 sides of our square. So simple and easy. We're just going to go across the top. The size of your tape really doesn't matter as well. You don't want it too wide because that will, it will take up space that you could put treats in, but you also don't want the super skinny stuff because it may not hold very well. All right, so I just have my tape on 3 sides of my paper. 1, 2, 3. The ones that are across from each other, we're going to do second. So if this is your odd size, you want to start working your paper into a tube. And you may want to curl it up a couple times just so that it's got that muscle memory. Just give it a little spin there. So now it's nice and curly. I'm going to get my pokey tool just to help me with the backings. I'm going to peel off just that side tape. You're not doing the top and bottom yet. And ultimately, you want to make a tube out of your paper. It is quite forgiving if you are using more of a random pattern, that even if you're not perfectly straight, this is still going to work. Get in there, give it a good rub down. Now I can see right now, and I can feel, because I can feel the tape behind. I'm not straight, but I'm okay with that, because you know, sometimes we can be a little wonky at Halloween. So I've given that a good rub down. My center seam is now all nice and smooth. I am going to start with the bottom tape and peel my backing off. And that's why I had you do it before we started curling, because trying to put tape in here after you've made your tube is probably more of a struggle than any of us have patience for. So I just peeled off my backing, and I'm going to squish it closed, trying to keep that seam. So here's the seam of where my tube was made. I want it to be centered as close as possible along that route. And I'm just going to pinch it closed and get it as flat as I can. I didn't bring my bone folder up, but I'm just going to use a block and give it a little smoosh. Now, I'm going to show you how to finish it, but I really recommend that you don't finish necessarily, because you need to be able to put the treats in. So if we close this up right now, then it's closed and you're not getting your treats in there. So until you put your treats in, you're probably going to have a bunch of open tubes, and that's okay. To do the top portion, so we've done the bottom with the center seam down the center. This time we want the center seam off to the side. So I'm going to peel my backing. And if I were, you know, assuming I've got my treats in there, I'm going to smoosh it closed this way. So now you have a seam going one way on the bottom, and turn 90 degrees, you've got it the other way going at the top. Keep it centered. And really, ladies, that's all it is. You've got your little sour cream containers all ready to go. So since we don't want to close everything up, I'm going to show you a couple different ways and show you some ideas on how to decorate them. And then that way you can make a bunch of half-finished ones, fill them with your treats when you're ready, and Bob is your uncle. The other thing that I might do, where are my scissors? I thought I grabbed my scissors, but I can't seem to lay my hands on them. When you're all done, what I might do is put a little snip into that top little fold there. That way, especially if you're giving it to a child, these might be a little tricky to get into. So that little snip will help them just kind of gently tear it open and get at the treats inside. So how easy was that? Let's look at some other ideas. So this is the 6x6. I'm going to do a 6x6 again. This time I'm going to do stripe. I'm being brave. I'm going to do the stripe. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it this way. So that way, if I don't get because if I tried to do it this way and tried to line up those stripes, I don't know that I would be successful. But I am going to go this way. We'll just see what happens. And then I'm going to show you some things you can do to decorate. So I'm going across the top. I'm going down the side. And I'm going across the bottom. Let's give this a curl. Take up my side tape backing. Let's see if I can line up those stripes. Voila. Look at that. That worked out pretty well. Then I'm going to do my bottom tape, but I'll leave my top one open for now. All right, so now I've got my little stripy piece, and imagine that eventually that will get pinched close. So one thing I can do to decorate this is just make him into a monster. So I am going to use some black circles and grab my punch. I'm going to make some white circles. We're going to make some eyeballs. So I think these are 2 different sizes. Let's do the bigger one. Oops. What happened there? So eyeballs are so easy. You just have 2 different sizes of circles. And then you can glue them on. Wow, I'm getting glue everywhere this morning. My apologies. Luckily with this collage medium, it dries matte and clear, so you won't see my glue fingerprints after the fact. But how cute is that? You've got a cute little monster, and you can make a nose for him. You could put a jack-o'-lantern face on it. This would be really cute if you did it out of orange and cut it, punched out, or even just drew on a little jack-o'-lantern face. So that's one idea. And again, that was with another 6x6. I promised you I would show you a different size. So this one is a 4x6. And you have 2 options. It depends on the size of your paper. You could go this way and make it super tall and skinny, or you could go this way and just make it a little bit shorter and fatter. I'm going to go the short and fat route. So that way, that means I want to put my tape on the top and the bottom, which are the 2 long sides, and the one side, which is the short side. So let's curl them up. Peel off my tape. Can you see what I mean? That these could be very addictive and so easy to make. Because look how quickly we're just making these up. Okay, this time I'm going to do the top because I want to show you something that you can do with the top. I'm going to leave the bottom open to put candy in afterwards. Come on. So I'm pinching up the top here. Now another thing you can do, and this would be cute if, again, if it was orange and you wanted to do a pumpkin kind of look, I'm just going to punch a hole in the top. Just got my handy dandy hole punch. And I have a little white circle, so I am going to pull out some stamps. This is from our new photo play set with stamps. These are their Halloween stamps. I love the big, goofy looking eyes. Then I'm going to take this. This is magic potions and things. So maybe I will do, I'm going to do the black cat to go with the creepy potions, the witch's brew. Before I get started, let's punch a hole in this guy too. There's my bigger hole. So there's my cat just stamped on the little tag. And this has the perfect sentiment for it. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here. Feline spooky. That definitely needs to go on this tag. I'm going to try, the nice thing about acrylic stamps is you can manipulate them a little bit. So I'm taking this straight sentiment stamp and putting it on a curve so that I can put it on the curve of my circle. Let's see if I have an orange or a purple here. Here's my orange ink. So feline spooky. There's my little tag. I've got just a little strand of green rickrack ribbon. So I'm going to feed it through my hole. Feed it through my tag. Tie a little bow. Oops. So if you've got really busy paper like I have here with the potion paper, you may not want to put a lot of decoration right on the paper. This little tag, and if you were giving it to someone, you could write the person's name on it as well. And then again, I would pinch this one up so this one would go the other direction. Here, let's actually do it. I need to go sideways. So when you use more of a rectangular piece of paper, it turns out that your box is a little bit more square or more, I guess, was it equilateral triangle as opposed to isosceles triangle. Hopefully I'm getting my triangles right. But there you go. Nice and cute. And you can have them ready to go to deliver to some special trick-or-treaters. Let me show you one more thing. If you don't have Halloween paper, or if you want to make a certain color scheme, another thing you can do instead of using pattern paper is make your own pattern paper using your stamps, using your colors. So over here, I have cut some white pieces. Now, this was out of an 8.5 by 11, so I cut it to 4 1/4 by 5.5, just because I know that that's evenly 1/4 of a piece of paper. I'm going to grab 3 of my stamps here. This will be a good refresher for those of you who remember what random stamping is, and this will be a good, easy how-to for those of you who don't know what random stamping is. Random stamping is essentially It sounds like it's essentially stamping things all over your paper randomly, but there is a bit of a method to it. I'm choosing 3 stamps. For me, this works the best if you do it in 3s. I've only got 2 blocks up here, so I'm just going to stick with the 2 to start and show you the technique, and then I'll swap one out. So I am going to start with my spider and my black ink. And there is like I said, a bit of a method to the madness in order to make it look even if it looks random. So when you are doing the random stamping technique, you want to think about making triangles with your stamps. And what I mean by that is I'm going to stamp my spider here. Going to stamp him up here. And you do want to remember to twist them in different directions too. So there I have 3 spiders. 1, 2, 3. If I connect them together, it makes a triangle. So the next one I want to do, I'm going to do them up here. I'm going to make another triangle down here, and it is totally okay to go off the sides. Now, what you might want to do is if you have a large 12 by 12 of white paper, go ahead and random stamp it first so that you then just have to cut and you get a nice big pattern. But I'd already cut mine. So that's it for my black. I'm now going to go in with the orange and the candy cone or candy corn and fill in the gaps. My stamps right now are similar in size, but if you have different size stamps, I would recommend doing the biggest one first and then moving down, because then that way you can fit them into the spaces more easily. So once again, I'm thinking about triangles, and I got some ink on my block. So again, I've got triangles coming with my candy corn. Once you've got your first layer down, the second and third ones tend to happen quite naturally because that's just where the spaces are. See if I can get one there. And then I need a third one. So let's see what's nice and small here. Maybe what I'll do is I will do a sentiment. So got a nice little sentiment here. Crawling by to say hi. That actually might be too big. What do I have on this one? Oh, here's a cute one. This is another one of the new photo play stamps. We have Jeepers. We have Treats, Not Tricks. I think I'm going to do the Treats, Not Tricks and just fill in the last of my gaps here. There's a purple. So with the small sentiment stamps, you want to make sure you're not pressing too hard. Now, it looks like I've got mine upside down. So I just want to kind of kiss the surface. And even with sentiments, you're thinking about your triangles. So if I connect these 3, I'm making a triangle. Now I'm going to go over here and here. Fully fit there. And one down here. All right, so now I've made my own pattern paper. And I can do the same thing as I did with the other 2. Gonna flip it over. Make sure my inks are all closed so I don't put my elbows in it. Let's tape up my end. Tape up my bottom. And tape up my top. Give it a curl. Stuck there. There we go. Then I'm going to form my bottom. And if I were filled with treats, I could form my top. But the other thing I've got is I've got the word boo. And that came from the die that goes with this set. And so I can just stick that across. Now it's up to you whether you want it to curl around. If you were doing that, what I would recommend is gluing it down and then maybe wrapping it with a rubber band so that those corners stay down. I want to keep it flat, so I'm just going to put glue on the O and have him stick down in the middle. Cute, 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 cute. And that way you can pick your own color scheme, your own images, and make them as personalized as possible. So there you have it, ladies. That is our spooky sour cream treat container for today. I hope I've given you a couple of ideas for decorating, as well as how you can make these with different sizes. Having now done them, in the different sizes this morning, I probably would not recommend going too much smaller than the 4x6. A, you won't get a ton of candy in there. B, I personally found it a little bit hard to wrap it. But that's up to you. Get as creative as you want. You can go big, you can go small, you can have lots and lots of fun decorating and creating these little treat containers, and then filling them with lots of treats for the little ones, or like I said, for birthday parties. You could even put in some sequins and confetti if you wanted to make it a great big kind of explosion when they open it, all that kind of stuff. So I know you guys will come up with tons of ideas to make these even different than what I've shown you, but this is a start. So go ahead and have lots of fun. Does anyone have any questions before I sign off? All right, I'm going to assume that silence is golden. I'm going to stop my recording, and thank you so much for tuning in this morning.